my intuition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best. You get it up. What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh. I'm vetted up. I don't need to try to speak for the.
Well, good evening there, folks. Welcome to the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. We are live Friday night, 9/27, to discuss the 7th episode of the Amazon original series, Lord of the Rings, The Ring of Power, Season 2. Now, this episode happens to be called Doomed to Die. That's right, folks. Doomed to Die. Yeah. So, I think, right off the bat, going into this one, knowing that it was, going to be pretty action-packed because we got a war going on, I think that this is probably, one of my favorite episodes. It just really worked really well. So, Mr. Wrath, welcome. And welcome, of course, to my other wonderful cohort, Mr. Jeff S. TrueKnowledge. Welcome, guys. How are we doing tonight?
Wonderful.
Bueno.
Excellent. Now, Wrath, you haven't been here for several of these episodes. You are caught up, sir, up to episode 7, sir?
I skipped episode 5 and 6.
Okay.
Up to 7.
All right. I want to ask you about those questions then, about those ones. All right. Okay. Anyways, just to kind of get the ball rolling, guys, going into this episode from episode 6, and since Wrath, you didn't see the last 2 episodes, going from the last episode you watched, sir, I was just wondering what your guys' thoughts were going into this episode. Were you expecting a big battle? Were you expecting it to move the story along? Did you think we were going to get what we got? Starting with you, Jeff.
No. I mean, they set it up in episode 6 really well. They set up the if you want to call it the Battle of Eregion or whatever. Like, they set it up really well. So there was no speculation at all as to like what the the foundation of episode 7 was going to be, because it had to be about battle, a battle, and like a siege type like episode. I didn't know to what degree they would cut out the strangers and Nori and Poppy's story and all that too, in this episode. There's no way to know that until you watch, right? So my expectations were just exactly what they gave us. Just a lot of fighting and like action and like kind of a payback for watching episode 5 and 6, because like they were really like a slog to watch. So
well, thank you, sir. Wrath, going from the last episode you watched, sir, what were your thoughts coming into this after you decided you were going to come on and watch, sir?
Okay, so as Jeff said perfectly in the end, like, watching a lot of these episodes felt like a slog. I mean, there's like some moments where, it's kind of, how to say, like it gets your attention. Like that time that, I forgot the guy's name. He jumped into the water after he took, not the rings, but something. And that was like in one of the first 3 episodes, probably episode 2.
Are you talking about Aaron Deere, the elf guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he just jumped into the water. Like, that caught my eye or attention. Or like the destruction of Khazad-dûm. Like, that also caught my eye too. I mean, it's mostly a dialogue-based show. So it's gonna feel a lot like a slog, like the other HBO show Billions. But just coming into it, it's like, oh yeah, it's another slog episode, but because it's episode 7 and it's near the end, I expected more. I expect more. I expect more action. I expect, more intensity, arguments. Not like, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm making these 7 rings. Oh yeah, like you know what I'm talking about.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Yes. So yeah, we definitely the last few episodes, excluding last episode, were definitely very sluggish, as everyone has put it. Definitely had a lot of storytelling, lots of dialogue versus action, and getting the story along better. And unfortunately, what we have noticed, in these last couple episodes is, just like you were mentioning, Jeff, the having the Stranger and Nori's characters, their storylines really haven't been expressed very much, except for the last episode. So we really haven't got much of them in like episode 5 and this episode at all. So I was really surprised by that. But at the same time, I think that they really wanted to focus on the battle, which I think was a clever idea, because that really pulls you in. Because what do you like more out of anything? Just like I ever said, you don't like a lot of sluggishness. You want action. So they gave us the action in this. So I was happy that they did that in this episode. All right, so basically this episode starts off. We see Callum Brimbor up in his tower. And, basically he is still kind of tinkering around with the rings. And, of course, Sauron is there. And basically they have this kind of like combo, and, Sauron basically keeps saying, finish making the rings, and basically, leaves it at, you need to finish these. Doesn't matter what you do. I'm in control, kind of deal. And, you need to finish these rigs, or, more peril is going to happen to your kingdom, more peril is going to happen to your people, type of deal. And that's kind of how we see it. And as they're having the conversation, we can see Celebrimbor definitely is like the wheels are turning finally. He's finally out of the trance of Sauron and is, starting to realize things. And, basically they kind of, Sauron leaves it at, finish the rings. And he exits. And then we go to him, and he goes out to where the battle's going on. And that's where the orcs are charging full tilt, going after the elves' little kingdom there. And they're basically trying to break open the side of the building so they can get through. And we basically see them try to do that while battling the elves. And basically they as they're battling, we get some really great action going on. We see some great destruction going on. We see a lot of great things. As Sauron is making his way through, the area and stuff, he comes across, I believe it's Mirandarim, Mandaur.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Wait, are you talking about the metal or something?
The blonde chick that is Celebrimbor's chick.
I'm not horny like Jeff, so I expected Jeff to know this.
Yeah, Miranda.
No. I can't remember her name.
Something. Yeah, it's Miranda something. It's like Miranda.
She wasn't hot enough. Is that it?
Maybe, I don't know for him.
Merdania.
Yeah, Merdania. I can't read my own writing. Sorry. So yeah, he comes across her, and basically, asks, what's going on with Celebrimbor, what's going on with what we're gonna do, basically, and kind of Sauron basically tells her what she wants to hear and tries to coat it and make it seem like Celebrimbor has lost his mind. Basically, you're only gonna listen to me. I'm taking control, type of deal. And basically, he kind of puts them kind of under his spell as well. And she is okay with that and goes along with it. Then basically the orcs, like I said, I wrote this really crappy, I guess, that I can barely read my own writing.
Oh man.
So basically, then the orcs start to create, a path to set to bring up their certain weapons to be able to get into the kingdom. And so we get to see more action in the field there after we have that conversation with Sauron and Mandarin, and we get to see like these catapults and stuff like that, and more action. So before we move on past that, what are your guys' thoughts kind of on the introduction to the episode, the start of the battle, the conversation with Celebrimbor and Sauron, and then Sauron and Mirandian's conversation, and kind of your overall thoughts kind of on this, the beginning of this episode, kind of leading into this battle that we kind of have mentioned. Starting with you, Wrath.
So the craftsmanship. I just loved how they made that whole scene, especially when I saw there were 8 rings and he was making the 9th ring. What I liked when he made the 9th ring was, I think it was after he forged it, he like hold it, you can't see it, and then you have like this light that just comes up, and then you see the 9th ring, and it's just like, that's just a beautiful way of displaying the 9th ring, the creation of the 9th ring. And this show, Rings of Power, it's all about those rings, and everyone wants those rings. Sauron wants those rings. The orcs that work under Sauron want them. Like, anyone who wants power, they just want those rings. And just the way how they make that craftsmanship episode, well done. I will let the others take the rest.
All right. Welcome, Jay Rent. How we doing, sir?
We're good. Great. Thanks. Thanks. Glad to be here.
Excellent to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
As we can see, you got stuck in traffic. It's all right. It happens. We all understand that. All right. So welcome, Jay Rent. And up to you, Jeff. What are your thoughts on that beginning of the film episode?
Well, you know what? The episodes are so long, it might as well be a film. I thought the introduction was good because it was right. It throws you right into the action, and like J-Rant was saying last week, that actor that plays Killmonger or whatever the fuck his name is, Celebrimbor or whatever, he's good, man. He's been killing it. You know what I'm saying? Like in this episode, in the intro, and like all through the episode, he is really solid, like top notch acting. You know what I'm saying? Like with the emotion and all that shit. You know, we'll talk about it more, but like he was really good right from jump. You know, like being all out of it with the mouse and all that shit. You know, you don't really know what's going on at first until he really explains it later on. You know, you're just like, okay, it's a mouse, right? But like, you know, you don't realize all this other stuff that he's seeing. You know what I mean? Because he's been, you know, bedazzled by Sauron and doesn't even know that like the city's being attacked. You know, so one thing I found interesting is that in the beginning and throughout the episode, every time that you go back to the city, there's always fucking fireballs and shit like coming flying down everywhere, like in the city and shit, right? Like killing people and shit. Why doesn't anybody go inside and like hide or whatever, you know? Like, what the fuck? Why are there people out there all the time to get killed by these massive, they know they're getting bombed. They were getting the entire introduction of the entire episode, all they're doing is getting bombed by those trebuchets or whatever they're called, right? So that was dope. It's always good to see a good trebuchet, right? That's always good. So I enjoyed that. And everything is really well shot as usual. The introduction was really well shot, and you know, everything looks great. Are we going as far as the charge of the elves?
We're going to basically before we go to King Durin. So up to the point when the orcs make that path and start like trying to get themselves into the city. and they basically they make all the things fall so that they can get across the water.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. When they moved the trebuchets around so that they could blast that mountain and create a canal or whatever or some shit like
A dam.
or a dam in the river or whatever, so that they could actually like attack the city. That was dope. I enjoyed that. It was really cool. The orcs are badass, man. Like, you know, hats off to the orcs. Like they deserve their credit for this episode. You know, like they're the villain, they're the bad guy. You know, so yeah, good. It's a good intro. Seeing Adar and all that shit was dope.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, J Rent. So as we that last question, we're asking about the beginning of the episode, from the introduction to Celebrimbor and Sauron having their conversation up in the tower, leading up to that assault for the orcs to basically stop the water from flowing so they can start making their way on foot into the kingdom to try to break in.
The intro, the jump into this episode was really solid for sure. Going based on the previous episodes and on this episode, just action. So from the start, we're right off, off the line, the starting line with this one, and I like that. I'm interested the whole way. I find myself not distracted and paying attention because it's interesting. It's it's going. He's starting to notice those things, I guess, in the beginning. They showed the mouse a little bit. Did he already realize about the candle in that opening part? No, he didn't. Right? He just kind of.
I don't know.
No,
I thought
right,
the mouse was.
I
I thought the mouse was trying. I thought the mouse was going to talk to him.
Well, he noticed something in the beginning. He's starting to realize that. I think he did see the reflection on the mirror. He kind of senses something's not right here. Sauron's kind of taking over, giving commands, letting everybody know that he's in charge, because he's lost his mind, in the tower. So everybody's starting to take orders for him. The intro with the part where they shot those rocks to drop the rocks on the water to hold the water, that was an interesting concept, for that scenario, for them to do that for the attack. I'm trying to remember everything that happened in this opening scene. We had the dwarves that came in this short area. No. So what is everything that happened in that first beginning part?
So we had the conversation with Celebrimbor and Sauron. Basically, Sauron telling him finish the rings. Then he goes out to the battle, and he has that conversation with the elf lady that is kind of like Celebrimbor's. I don't know what she's supposed to be to him, but her name's Mirandion. Yeah. And they have a conversation, and he basically tells her what she needs to hear to keep her on his side, once again manipulating him. And then we have basically the beginning of the battle. We see the orcs. We see, them battling with the elves and stuff like that. We see them starting to try to destroy the kingdom. And then basically that leads up to the point when they basically are able to stop the water from flowing to make their way land on foot to the kingdom.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, everything at the beginning. There's a couple of things in there to point out, but I think we in the next couple of scenes, that's where everything just explodes. I think there's a lot more to talk about on those.
Exactly. Thank you. Excellent. Great job, everyone. All right. So this episode was a long episode too. I mean, it was an hour and 12 minutes. So as Jeff had made the reference earlier, it could have been a movie almost. I mean, some cartoon movies are an hour and 12 minutes, so this technically could be considered a movie. Because I mean, as it kept going on, I myself kept going, is this episode over yet? I'm like, is this episode over yet? I'm like, Jesus Christ, how much more can you add to it? And so I just remember thinking, oh, okay, all right, interesting. until we got to the end, I was just like, what? Anyways, so moving on from where we left off. So after the orcs have, stopped the water flow so they can make their way across on foot, that's when we go over to King Durin III. And as we see, he still has the ring on. He is still going crazy. The King Durin IV, or Prince Durin IV, is basically, watching from the sidelines, trying to figure things out with his wife and the other dwarfs. And basically, he comes to the conclusion that he needs to basically, overtake his father. Basically, do what he needs to do to get that ring off of him and save the dwarf kingdom. And so basically we have kind of that whole situation going on. At this point too is when we have Elrond appear, asking for help from him to fight in the battle against Anatar. And basically, King Durin says that Prince Durin IV says he will help them. And basically we have another one of those like kind of brotherly bonds going on there. It definitely didn't come across as gay as they made it in the last season. So I was happy about that. So that was a lot nicer this time around. It felt more like a brotherly bond type of deal. And we have that great little quip saying that, they will get there by dawn to help you fight this battle. And that's kind of, what Elrond was looking for, is this kind of the secret kind of stash type of deal to help fight against the orcs. So after we do that, we go back to Celebrimbor and Sauron again, and he has come back up, and they have another conversation. And this conversation I feel is definitely different than the last one. It's a little more basically kind of Celebrimbor, making Anatar or making Sauron aware that he has figured out that about his illusion, that he's not trapped by his illusion anymore. And, that basically he has noticed things that show that, he's been in an illusion. And, basically they kind of go back and forth. And once again, Sauron just all about the rings, So all he cares about is him completing those rings. And even as, kind of Celebrimbor he's like I said, he's coming out of his funk. He's coming out of that trance. He's trying to kind of be proactive, but at the same time, you can see that the wheels are turning in Sauron's mind. And, he's like 10 steps ahead already. So it's kind of like, you really can't, it's kind of hard to battle Sauron and when he's got the upper hand already, because you basically have given it to him. And that's kind of what that conversation kind of gives you and kind of points in that direction, I feel. So after that conversation, nice,
Ivor.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I gotta keep it. I gotta keep the status quo full and some moderating for you, sir, so that you can get your game on. All right. So after that, that's basically he goes out. Sauron leaves again, and basically he tries to get himself out of the handcuffs that he's stuck with. We see him kind of moving around and doing things, throwing the rings into the fire and stuff like that. And as he does that, he realizes that he's chained to the thing and he wants to get out of it. So he's like trying to figure out how to get his hands out of it. We see him, it's like, and all of a sudden he sees something that could chop something off. And we see him go over to it and go, and so basically he cuts off his thumb to be able to get his hand out of the handcuff. And he basically makes his way outside and is noticing the battle that's going on. And as he's doing that, he gets spooked and he falls over the edge. It falls down. And basically wakes up afterwards, being picked up by some of the elf soldiers there. What do you mean we're making a big jump in the episode?
That's a big jump.
That's like really towards the end. But that's
Jesus
okay.
Christ.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
kind of.
I don't mind. I don't mind. But yeah, the guy when he cuts his finger off, that happens in like the last 15 minutes.
No, that's not the last 15 minutes.
Yes, it is. It is. It's the last 15 minutes for sure.
Nope.
Because-
No, because we have a whole battle sequence after that with the elves and the giant org and all that shit. So no, this isn't the last 15 fucking minutes. So
so
shut up and let me do what I'm doing. Shh. Okay? So cancel whatever I fucking said there. Let's go back here. Jesus fucking Christ. All right.
So, J-Red, how was traffic?
well, there was no traffic. I
And
never.
why are you late?
Yeah, where did he? Jared never said anything about getting stuck in traffic.
I never said that. I saw that in the comments. I just was like, okay, I'll tell you right now.
Ratton's on some interesting shit, bro.
I'll tell you right now. I got home really late, and I never got to watch the episode. I watched it at 7:30, and I watched it right before I got on. And as it was time, 8:30 was here. I was in the last 15 minutes of that movie, and that show, episode, But I will say this: when he cut off his thumb, that's when he fell out the second time, and they
yeah.
And then
okay, shut up, shut the fuck up. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. So anyways, he does make his fucking way outside because that's when Miranda comes in and she actually gets pushed over and gets killed. That's where I have it written here. Okay. So if that's not how the fucking episode goes, then I watch a different episode than you guys. But basically, it comes to that. He accidentally hits her over. And
no, he doesn't accidentally hit her over.
Well, Sauron makes her do it, makes him do it. Anyways, yeah. So you guys got me all fucked up. All right, so I'm just gonna read from the synopsis here on Wikipedia here for a second. All right.
This is interesting.
The orcs aim their cherry-bucks at the mountains behind the city, causing a rock slide that blocks the river upstream, allows them to assault the city on the west foot. Elrond comes to Chasm of Doom to ask Durin for help. Durin the Fourth decides not to. They don't even write it in the right order, anyways, in the episode, because that does not happen until after certain events. So, like I said, Celebrimbor, like I said, it shows him back in the thing, and we basically have the situation where so we come up to the sequence there where Elrond has made his way to the battle, and he's approaching, and he has a moment with Galadriel, where basically she's basically sending him a message through mind control, and basically stops him before he starts the fight. And then that's when we go have the conversation with Anatar. So, kind of going off of what you guys remember of that section, what are your guys' thoughts from the second conversation with Sauron and Celebrimbor, leading up to the section with them having Elrond having a conversation with Anatar and basically trying to get a deal with to get Galadriel out. Starting with you, Wrath.
Ooh, sorry with me again because I'm on good behavior and the other two people are not. Okay, so you did mention about Prince during the fourth, right? He wants to kill his father. He wants to get the rings. He wants to rule the dwarf kingdom.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't?
No.
It's implied.
Wait,
Cyber, you said that.
That's what happens when you skip
No, I
episode
didn't.
5. When you skip episode 5 and 6, that's what happens.
What are y'all talking about?
Oh my fuck. No. Okay, wait. I have other stuff in my notes. Though, because like I literally was like, no, I know there's other stuff. Wait, hold on. Okay.
Folks, this is
Okay.
the most dysfunctional MCU'S video
You guys
show ever.
got me messed up, okay? Shush. Okay, you guys got me messed up, okay? Because I'm trying to like piece. Okay, guys. Okay, let's just admit this. Okay, let's just admit this. Okay.
I don't think anybody
Dude,
watched it. If somebody's watching this podcast right now, they're gonna be like, "Did these guys watch the episode? What is going on here?"
Yeah, for real.
Oh my fucking god. Okay, that thumb. Oh my god. Okay. I really want to talk about that thumb. That was just so disturbing to see him just like cut his thumb off just to escape and just leave that fucking place. Like, Cyber, can you come back to me? Because I think I drank too much.
All right, Jeff.
Okay, so if I think I know where we're at, the battle is going good. Like, the battle is going straight, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's thumping. You know, Elrond showed up now, right? And he had his parlay with Adar, which was cool. It was good seeing them do their parlay. I always like seeing Adar with people with other characters, right? He's always good. So, like, we had that part where they met in like the orc camp or whatever, you know, and then Elrond walked out and he like gave Galadriel the like thing to cut her latches or whatever or some shit.
We didn't
He,
see
like,
that
gave-
though, right? We didn't actually
He,
see that.
No, we don't realize that until later. But it happens then. They kiss too. He kisses her, which I was like, "What the fuck, Elrond? Like, why are you kissing Galadriel?" You know what I'm saying? Like,
You know when he did that, and I hate to interrupt you, but when he did that,
he
I thought
did
he
that,
was
he
gonna,
did that to give her the thing.
yeah.
That's why he did it. Now I know why. I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you kissing her, Elrond? You know what I'm saying? But now I understand why, because he was doing that as a subterfuge to give her the fucking little cross deal or whatever that Adar finds later or whatever, you know? So that was dope. And then right after he leaves there, he takes his elves and they start attacking the motherfuckers at the wall, right? And they start fighting. So that the battle shit was good. It looked good. It looked like Lord of the Rings. It looked like how it should look, you know? Like it just didn't have the star power that like Lord of the Rings had. You know what I mean? Where it would like zero in on certain characters and shit like that. This was just like a battle, you know? Like where and mostly the only person that would go on would be Elrond. But there was that one female. They had this one Mary Sue female elf that like was the one that had that was like the archer at the end of the episode. The archer one that blew up the fucking thing. She was a Mary Sue, bro. I'm sorry, but like, come on, Amazon Prime. What the fuck? What was up with that shit?
The Chinese archer?
Yeah, that Chinese bitch.
The Chinese elf?
She was a Mary Sue, bro. I didn't like that shit. I was like, come on, Amazon Prime. What the fuck? Come on now. You got this good ass episode going. Now you got to throw this shit in here? The fuck is that?
They pulled her from Shogun and put her in.
They ain't got no fucking lady elves in the fucking in the elf military, bitch.
They
It's all
got
male.
No, they use DEI, bro.
No, it's all
Okay.
male, bitch.
All right. So to correct myself, there are two scenes. Yes, there are two scenes where he goes outside. So what I was trying to get to, I added the thumb cutting by accident. That is because I couldn't read the notes. But this sequence, he goes outside, and Sauron makes him throw the blonde chick over the thing. So I was going the right direction. I just got stuck with the cum thudding stuck in my head. So, but that also the I was just checking the runtime for the thumb cutting, and it still was 30 minutes left of the fucking video. Just FYI.
Okay, sir. Okay. So, anyways, so the chick got killed, and that was sad because, like, you know, I thought Sarah was going to slip some D in there. You know what I'm saying? It looked like they were going to fuck. You know, and like, if they, you know, come on, if you're going to cut fingers off and shit, you might as well have some titties going on too. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to have graphic violence and all this shit, I know we're not talking about that yet because it didn't happen in the episode yet, but like that finger shit was deep. Like that was some hardcore shit. But yeah, so good fucking cinematography on the battle scenes in this part of the episode. The orcs are looking dope. The elves are looking dope in their armor and shit, but they look good on their horses. You know, you get the conference between Adar and Elrond, right? Elrond's badass in this episode. That's all I got, sir.
And you're begging for tits?
When isn't he begging for tits?
Never.
Exactly. So why did you even ask that? J-Ramp, your thoughts, sir.
The part where the elves come in on the horses, those scenes were very Lord of the Ring-ish. So like stay true to like the style of this series. It was really cool how they, you know, the angles they came from and showed them. And then they brought out, you know, what's her name, and they showed her in the cage, and then like they did that little thing where they all like stopped right on the line in front of them. And that's when they did the little you know, meeting that they had between them, and they talked a little bit about like he has a common enemy. He explained to them that the city's overrun by Sauron, and he's not gonna let the elves stop them. And he's explaining to them. I just don't understand how I didn't understand how a agreement couldn't be reached, but you know, plot armor, you know, change, you know, keeps it like that. You know, because he explained that that Sauron is there forging the rings, and you have that, you know, that elf, the chick elf, who knows that, who could have like spoken up and said like, yeah, no, he's right, but this is the case. Nobody wants to say anything, you know. And when he kissed her, yeah, that confused me because I was like, were they a thing? Did I miss that like in these episodes? Because I never got that from them, but I guess that was, you know, that they did that deliberately. It just threw me off. Like I didn't even consider the fact that I felt like he was gonna give her something. They were talking about the rings, and I felt like he was like gonna slip her the ring like through the kiss, and they were gonna like show a scene like where you could see maybe like the ring, you know, because I didn't understand, or like where he was gonna slip her the ring, like because he made the orc made that stupid comment about like, oh, he doesn't have any weapons, right? Like we know that he went there in their camp. They obviously checked it for weapons, but they wanted to reiterate that he didn't have weapons when he asked to go. And why was he like, can I bid her farewell since I'm saying, you know, fuck her, you know, pretty much is what he said when they were talking about like going, you know, he's like, well, I'm gonna put her to her death or whatever if we go to war. And he's like, well, then do what you got to do, right? And he's like, well, can I at least tell her goodbye? And he's like, sure. You know, I thought that was pretty lame. She was like right there. I would have been like, no, tell her right there. You don't care about her anyway. You know, but then do the whole kiss thing, and you know, it just helps with the plot, and that's fine. You know, we go move forward with that, and then we get away from that, and then we go to the first scene where he gets out of the trance, because then he realizes this is where he realizes he's like he sees the mouse all the time.
The trance.
Not tranny, not transvestite. The trans. It's still called trans.
I thought the same thing,
trance. Is it trance, right? Trance.
Trance. Illusion. Just say illusion.
Trans. Sorry, I look at Jeff and then I automatically the TRANS is what comes to mind.
Jim, you gotta say it better so we all understand, dude.
I was like, come on, if there was a training episode, I would have known.
Sorry, trance. He comes off of the spell, and then he realizes, with the
He's on the
outside,
side.
he did he threw his hammer out the window, and all of a sudden, like, he was able to see what was actually going on outside. Before that, he marked the candle, to see like how long it would burn, because he realized that Mouse was going like in the same pattern. And once he realized that, then he went outside, and when he tried to explain it to that girl, she was already like manipulated to think that he was gone crazy, and so the things he was saying sounded crazy, so it didn't help.
Nah, he's
and,
fucked.
and that's when they were like, and that's when he was like, when she was like, hey, you're tired, let's get you inside, and he went like this, right? Like, he put his hand up, and that's when they show Sauron, and he's like this with his hand, but like, I mean, he didn't look like me, but he had on the side, and he was like, right, and then she was like, and she, he slaps her over the balcony, and then she takes an axe to the face by an orc.
Imagine if that orc had raped her first.
I was like, I guess they didn't. I was like, I don't think they really needed to do that, like, just to fucking slam an axe in her face, because that's the impression they gave you, right? She falls basically down. That probably would have been enough for that episode, right? She fall, you see the blood like come out of her. Maybe like her eyes were just like, and then she's dead. But they had to go put the work over her, and it was like, oh, nice, whack. And they're like, ooh. And then they lock him up again. That's when they put the cuffs on him, the gold cuffs. And then he goes and tells him about, finish these rings, or else. And then we got to are we at the part now where he actually does take his thumb? Are we there?
No.
Okay. So yeah, that's my take on that little part there.
Good job, J-Rat.
All right. Excellent, everyone. So after Elrond gives Galadriel the kiss and has slipped her the item so that she can pick herself out of the locking there in the orcs camp, we see Elrond. He leaves. He basically is talking in Elvish, tells one of his army guys that, they don't see something coming, and that, Durin's going to be helping them with the fight. Then we go back to Durin the Fourth, and he's basically, getting things together for the battle, and he's rallying all the other dwarves. And we get that big speech from him, and he basically kind of gets them all going, saying the name of their city. What is it? Kamen, Khazad-dûm. And then they're chanting Khazad-dûm, Khazad-dûm, Khazad-dûm. And then it goes back to Galadriel for a brief second. We see her, and she has the pin that Sauron gave her. That Elrond gave her. And then it pops back to, of course, Mr. Celebrimbor, and he's working on the rings. And they have that conversation, as Jay Renhan mentioned, about completing it. Then we have Elrond making his way into battle, and they start fighting the orcs. This is all going on in the same section here. It goes back and forth between these three elements. We can even see, King Durin the Third too, as he's taking the axe to start, still chopping at the exterior to get to where he is, because the rings tell him to do that. All while this is going on. And so as that's going on, like I said, they, basically Durin rallies them. And as that happens, basically at that point, once again, we see Elrond. He says, defend the city, and they start battling more. We get more of the battle sequence. We get to see the horse do some interesting kicks of his horse. So we see him like kicking off orcs and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. But I think the fight sequences in this scene were done really well. I thought the choreography was really done well. I thought it was really fantastic in this sequence. I mean, we see a lot of great action as the orcs and the elves are battling it out. And the scenery, like everyone's mentioned, there's just a lot of great that very much that very Lord of the Rings feeling vibes as these action scenes are going on. And basically at this point we get to see Elrond kick its butt. I think my favorite part of this battle sequence is when Elrond is fighting that one orc and he stabs him into the catapult and then he catapults him against the wall. I thought that was pretty cool. And of course his horse unfortunately passes, and it basically keeps panning the span of the whole kingdom and stuff like that. As they're doing things, we see more catapults doing stuff, pulling rock and stuff away to try to break into the into the kingdom. Basically then it takes us to the orcs talking with Anatar about all the casualties and stuff like that. And they basically they're kind of losing, even though that they have a lot more orcs than the elves have. And Anatar all of a sudden realizes that Galadriel is missing. And basically at this point, that's when we get to see Galadriel as she's trying to make her way to escape the camp. And that's when, of course, the Mr. Black Elf pops up finally again. And what is his name? Adar? No, not Adar. It's what is it?
Arondir.
Arondir. Yeah, Arondir. And he pops up because he's trying to get vengeance. And he helps Galadriel escape from the camp. So we'll stop there. What are your guys' thoughts on that section of the episode? What were your takeouts? What did you enjoy? What did you think about the King or Prince Doran the Fourth's pep talk? What did you think about the action, the scenery in this scene? What did you think about the orc going flying on the catapult? And what did you think about Galadriel's escape and then the reintroduction to Arondir? Starting with you, Jaren.
You pick me first. Going to, I guess I'll start with like the Prince Durin. I think that whole scene where he's having to put in a position, to keep his army there as well, because we get a clip of that, of what's going on in the castle. You see the king too. We forget that the king has the axe. Remember, and he's like, he has the axe in his hand. He's guarding. We've got the warriors that are now on his side as well. And then, the reintroduction of the other elf, is cool because we don't really see him that much. Kind of makes appearances here and there, but he's like really involved now in this episode, and you get to see how much of a badass he is. He's like a black Legolas, and just really good archer. The parts where now at we find her, she escaped, she's walking, she's got the hoodie, and that was when she was doing that, when she was walking with the hoodie, I was like, oh yeah, that's really going to trick them into not thinking you're an orc. She was walking by, she's got like all this super white skin and blonde hair. She's just walking through like the orc camps. I thought that was kind of funny. It took them a while, right, before they realized. And when then he comes in to save her, and he had a shot to kill him, remember? And he was like, I'm gonna take this shot, and she was like, no, we still got one more episode left, and didn't shoot him there, right? He was willing to give his life to end it right there, and she said no. And she was like, this is not the battle for that. This is, a lot of hero elves have died today. Let's not add more to it. I don't know. It was funny to hear that because the battle was still going on and there was still going to be more elves to die like in that process. So like just stop at that moment and then wait like 30 minutes for more elves to die. It was really, really like not selfish. It's the wrong word, but like he said, he had an opportunity. He's like, it's going to cost you your life. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. And I didn't, I don't know. It was a good scene all the way around. I like everything. I just always nitpick little things here and there. And that's it.
All right. Wrath, same question.
Okay, so that orc on the catapult, all I have to say is that was just comedic relief right there. I don't know if I should say it's well timed, but I just like how they just put it there. Like, who would have expected? You just put an orc, put on a catapult, let him fly, let him, enjoy being an airplane for a couple seconds here and there. Like, yeah. As for that one scene where King Durin III was digging into the mountain, one of the things that just comes to mind is the rings. Like, I know they're so sought after, but I mean, they just also turn you into like a really corrupt figure. Like, I can understand why his son wants to take the ring away from him. And man, Durin the third, who knows? I mean, he's starting to look more like a symbol of the downfall of the Elf Kingdom. And we'll see what happens after. That's all to say.
All right. Thank you. Jeff, same question.
Yeah. Everybody else already said a lot, so I'll just say that Aaron Deere making an appearance in the episode and having an impact is really cool. Aaron Deere was one of our favorite characters in season 1. If you remember going back, Cyber, we loved him. Everything with him was always good. I really enjoyed him in season 1. So I'm down with Aaron Deere. And seeing Galadriel get set free, like that shit was hard to believe. Like, come on now. At one point, she like picks up the fucking like the litter or whatever, like with the motherfuckers, and like carries it around and shit, drops it. Then she's walking around. How you gonna be walking around like her with blonde hair and like perfect skin and shit in an orc fucking camp? Like, come on now. That was fucking stupid, bro. How is that even possible? And she's walking right by motherfuckers and shit, whatever, all this shit. It's like, come on, bro. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Amazon. What's up with that? You know what I mean? Come on,
See?
what the fuck? I like they should have caught her immediately. Like, bitch, you are fucking like blonde haired and fucking like you're human and shit. You do not belong. You're not an orc. You know? I'm telling you. So like I don't know what's going on with that. They should have grabbed her up immediately. Like seriously. I mean, but fucking Aaron Deere jumped in there and fucking and Legolas them those niggas. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, ice cold on the motherfuckers. You know. And then they hung out and like had a conversation right in the camp. They're like still in the camp. There's like dead orcs behind them, right? With like arrows in them and shit. Dudes are fighting them. They're fighting the dead people and shit. And Galadriel is just wanting to have a conversation. Right there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, have this try to have this conversation. I'm like, dude, go run. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? Like, you didn't even get very far from like where the fuck you got grabbed at.
Right. They didn't even take cover. It was like right on the open road. Like,
come on, man. The fuck was that? So yeah, I had some beef with that shit. That was like a little bit like, you know, sus. You know what I'm saying? A little sus, baby. You know, just to be clear. But besides that, the continuing breakdown of Kellen Brimbor, like watching him just through the episode breaking down, you know, like devolving into like, you know, what he ends up as, right, is deep. You know, he tossed that bitch on the ground, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucker, you know, our favorite bitch, you know, is fucking died, you know, Cyber's favorite bitch died. So, like, you know,
Like, dude,
Mildred, or whatever her name is, not Mildred. Yeah, so that's all I got, Cyber, for that parcel, sir. Really good cinematography, really great costume design, really great costumes across the span of the episode. Everything was really well done, like Lord of the Rings style. you know, like the best of the best, right? Like with
And that's why Amazon made it.
with the battle shit, like what the fuck, man? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they did not spend any expense on this shit, right? There you go.
And Jeff, that's why Amazon made it. That's why Amazon's perfect to make this show.
Thank you. Excellent job, guys. All right, so moving on from there, after wonderful, as Jeff has mentioned that, you know, Mr. Aaron Deere was, you know, the awesomest portion of the first season. You know, we got very little of him in this season so far, so having him here is, you know, fun. And I do have to agree to an extent, yes, I don't mind him. I thought he was a decent character. So having him come kind of to the rescue for Galadriel was kind of cool. But going from there, that's when we go back to King Durin and to Durin the third or fourth. And basically we have one of his minions come up and tell him that they can't go. He can't take the army because King Durin is still going insane and he's still marching his way through the mountain. And that if you take the army, there's no one to try to stop him. And so we get that scene there, which was done very well, I thought. You know, of course, and we see how conflicted Durin the Fourth is, definitely because of how he feels towards Elrond and wanting to help Elrond. And, you know, he's kind of like, oh, crap. And then that's when we go back to Sauron and to Celebrimbor. And once again, Celebrimbor's working on the rings. And basically, we see him, you know, kind of slumped over, kind of sitting there, chained, as Jay Rep mentioned before. And, you know, Sauron basically starts to go into kind of like a rant. And so we have kind of them having a conversation again, Sauron kind of explaining, you know, why he needs the rings, you know, belt, and basically kind of explaining that even if you try to deter me, I'm still going to get to where I want to go, kind of deal. And, you know, basically, once again, leaves it at, you know, finish the damn rings, basically. And so after he walks away again, we see Celebrimbor, but he's kind of like, you know, kind of starting to mess with the rings again. As he's doing that, he's looking at one, and he decides to throw all the rings into the fire. And he does that with the rings, and he goes to take them back out. Before we do that, we go back to the battle, and we have the battle going on. We see, of course, all of them fighting and stuff like that. Elves and orcs against each other. Elrond's kicking butt. Elves are kicking butt. Orcs are kicking some butt too as well. You know, then it goes back to Celebrimbor, and he's pulling them out and notices that nothing has changed to them. Nothing, the fire didn't do anything to them. And he's kind of like, shit, kind of like, what to do? And so we see him kind of like start to figure something out. And he grabs like this pouch of some sort and starts putting them into the pouch. And that's when we get to the thumb cutting finally. Thumb cutting happens. He makes his way back outside. And that's where, unfortunately, he falls over the side and ends up blacking out and then waking back up, and the guards are picking him up. So we'll stop there. So what are you guys' thoughts on that section of the episode? What did you think about it? What did you enjoy? What did you like about it? Did you enjoy the back and forth between the different things? Did it confuse you? Was there anything about it that you found better than previous? And do you feel it's pushed the story further as it needed to go? This time we'll start with Jeff.
I transed out. Unfortunately, for a moment.
Are you just using J-Rent's word?
yeah, I transed out on that, unfortunately, a little bit, but I think I'll be okay. Dude cutting his thumb off was deep. It was deep. Like, honestly, I was like, when I saw that shit, I was actually a little bit upset a little bit. I was like, that's a little bit too far. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, this is like the Lord of the Rings shit here, right? Like, they don't usually do like crazy violence and shit like that in Lord of the Rings. Like, you know, like with to that degree, to that level, you know? I was really shocked when he actually cut his shit off. I was like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, bro? Like, and of course I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can do whatever they want. I don't care. But it's the Lord of the Rings. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't usually take it to that level. It's usually kind of lighthearted, you know? So, like, I didn't know about all that. Like, that was really kind of like, it seemed like it was somewhat not within the typical kind of content that you would get from one of these episodes from the Rings of Power. They haven't done anything up until this point that's that gory for like to set you up for that at all. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that there was nothing to like set that up. This all of a sudden they dropped that in episode 7. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, that shit was deep. And of course, I'm sure everybody has thoughts on it, you know. But it's interesting how they kind of like Galadriel got out, then they just dropped off of her completely. Like they dropped her completely out of the episode at that point. Like she wasn't in the battle, she wasn't fighting or anything like that. Like nothing, you know. And I like Galadriel. I want to see her doing shit. So I was kind of shocked, like that they dropped her out of the episode at that point. Like Arendir came back, you know, to defend the fucking like the gates and shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But she didn't. So like, where the fuck did she go? Right? Like, what was up with that? So that's all I got, sir.
All right, J-Ray.
To kind of piggyback on some of the things you were saying, I think he gave her the rings, so she had to dip. She couldn't stay there and fight because she had to get the rings and get out of there.
Yeah.
I was like, when he was like, no, you got to leave, you know, and he's going to stay there. I didn't understand why he had to stay there. I didn't understand why she left him with the elves that were ready to arrest him. And then all of a sudden they're like, we're going to fight with you. I was like, okay, that was real quick.
We'll die with you.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I get it. They were misled, and she just comes out of nowhere and like corrects them, and they're like, "Oh, okay, sure, yeah, you're right." You know, there was no conversation about it. When he puts, and then to kind of go backwards on that, when he puts those rings into the fire, and they don't, and I'm assuming he was trying to melt them, right? He was trying to melt them, and then he pulled them out, and they were like still, you know, nice and clean. Then he was trying to touch them to pick. He was actually trying to like pick them up, and he didn't, you know, seeing how hot he was. Then he realized that they weren't even hot. You know, he was like, okay, well, what the hell? So he put them in the bag. I guess he realized that they can't be destroyed because they were actually made with the blood of Saruman, and I don't know if that's what made them indestructible. But they didn't do that with the other rings, right? He did that with just these because they didn't have the mithril. Do you remember? Right? He never put blood in the other ones.
They used the Walmart version of mithril.
He used his blood instead of the.
What's that Walmart brand?
Great Value.
Great Value. They got the Great Value mithril.
Yeah, which kind of brings me to some like weird points like about it. Like we brought it up on the other episode about like how those rings are different than the other ones. Remember, I didn't know that I thought they were going to use mithril on all of them, but I guess they used it on the elves and the dwarves. And the ones like in Lord of the Rings that they have those wraths of the men. Remember, because he has like control those men. They come in, they're like the ghosts. They do his bidding. I'm guessing that has something to do with his blood being in those rings as opposed to the other rings, because they don't got no dwarfs or elves that, you know, are ghosts in the other one.
Hey, I'm gonna do it for my nigga I just met right here, y'all. My mind's telling me no, but that crack, y'all, that crack keeps telling me yes, gotta go.
And that'll do it.
Okay. Thank you, Jared. Wrath, same question, sir.
I just like how once he knew those rings were indestructible in the fire, Salimbar like was even willing to go as far as to like, you know, cut his thumb off and escape with the rings. I'm just like, if I was him, would I want to do that? Hell no. Like, I think the pain of losing my thumb without anesthesia or anything like that, I think it would be far worse than like if Sauron had the rings at that point. I would have been like, rather just like stay there if I was him. But that just shows his character. Like, this dude, like, he knows the consequences of making all those rings. And if it falls in the wrong hands, yeah, all hell breaks loose. So I mean, bravo to him. I mean, it's not unexpected. I mean, Tolkien, the way he makes Lembards, like he wants them to be this way. You know, like takes responsibility for the ring, try to be a hero in the way. And then you also got to realize that like Sauron is so powerful. Like as you mentioned, that fight sequence, like everyone's fighting each other, things don't make sense, everyone's distracted. Those soldiers, those elf soldiers. Remember how like they turned against Salimbar when they're supposed to be in hit size because of the trance, not trans, trance. Man, honestly, if I mean, at the same time, Sauron is so powerful. I'm like, okay, I give up. He has the rings, but Salimbar, you have a much bigger character than me. Kudos to you. With great power comes great responsibility, and that's what we see right here. And that is all I will say.
All right, sir. Thank you. All right. So before we proceed, you have a trailer, sir, up there in the left-hand corner.
I do, sir.
Let's play that.
Don't even look like y'all can walk. Oh shit, she had the Heisman on her ass. Oh shit. Lean with it, rock with it. The zombies. Mr. Lee, what's wrong with them?
I don't know, but it's looking good.
Look, hey, Solomon, what's wrong with him, Solomon?
Yoda, boy.
Smile for the camera. Say hi. Say hi. Oh, she can't even respond. Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, what the fuck? No, we going viral today. Boy, what that is, y'all, on that Scooby-Doo pop-pop? No. Hey, boy, standing ovation. What the fuck? Y'all both.
There you go, folks. Great music. Great music. All right. So that basically brings us to kind of the last portion of the episode, which is about roughly around the last 20 minutes of the episode. And basically, after Celebrimbor wakes up and he sees the guards, in front of him, and they pick him up. That's when Galadriel pops up and says, "Hey, listen to him. He is your king. You do not arrest him. He is your rightful king." And basically, that's when they have the conversation together, and he basically says, "Take the rings. I'm going to stay here." And so then she runs off, and then that's when we get back to the battle. And this is the little scene where Jeff was talking about the Asian chick, and she does her bow and arrow thing, and basically hits some sort of bomb that blows things up, and like takes care of some orcs for them. And as they're battling and stuff like that, Elrond, of course, is checking on other elves and stuff like that as they're being hurt and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we had the one Asian chick there. She unfortunately comes to her demise after she blows that bomb up. We basically see a lot of action in this sequence here, which is really fun. Lots of battling. We see, and it goes back to Anatar at one point. He's talking to one of his sons, as they like to call him, his son orcs, and basically he says, "Let him out." And like, but like, Father, Lord, he will even kill ours, and he's like, "I don't care, let him out." And so that's when Arondir pops back up too as well. He's on top of the castle, and he's bow and arrowing people along with the other bow and arrowers. and or archers, I should say. And all of a sudden, noise starts happening, and they look over deep by the forest, and they see something moving from out of the thing, something big. And that's where we get this big cave troll. I believe it's a troll. I think it's a troll. It's a cave troll, right? Or is it supposed to be a giant orc?
It's a troll, I think, right?
Okay.
Guys, right, J-Rat? It's a troll, but it's not a cave troll.
It's just a troll. Okay. We see this big ass troll, and he starts making his way towards the battlefield. Then we go back up to the castle, and Sauron's back in there looking for Celebrimbor, and he notices that he escaped somehow. And they're there waiting, and they're about to basically try to take him hostage, or arrest him. And he basically uses his powers and makes them kill themselves, and ends up killing the other guard in charge. And then he goes over to Celebrimbor, has got him by the neck, and basically kind of, says it's like inevitable, kind of like Thanos type of deal. Nothing you could do. I'm in control still, basically. And I think that scene's really done well. Then it goes back to the battle. We see the giant troll again, and he starts taking out things. We see Arendor again, and he's trying to shove as many arrows into this troll before he gets to his landing point to take out what he needs to take out. And we get some really great imagery here of him, and they're battling a whole bunch of orcs and elves are battling him, stuff like that. He's using orcs as shield from the arrows as they're shooting him. And one thing about this troll, if you notice, I noticed anyways, he definitely has almost a conscience to him. Like, he knows what the hell he's doing. Like, he doesn't look like just like your common cave troll that's kind of dumb. He actually looks like he's in control of his faculties. And they're battling him. They go back to the battling with Elrond and the orcs and the other elves, stuff like that. Elrond tries to get over there to use the battering ramp to help stop the troll. He ends up cutting the rope to be able to use the catapult. It ends up knocking the troll in the stomach, kind of stunning him briefly, and then he gets super angry and throws Elrond across the way after he gets hit in the stomach, or before he gets in the stomach, he gets hit in the stomach. And then he ends up taking the catapult thing out of the way and starts trying to jam it into the wall to break it open. And as he's doing that, Arendor basically jumps off of where he's from onto him and starts cutting him and stuff like that, stabbing himself. And then Elrond comes back into the picture after being thrown and basically ends up killing the troll. So after the troll has been killed, which I don't get why they have the troll laughing. That I thought was kind of weird. Like, why the hell did you have this troll laughing? That was just kind of weird. Hill troll, yep. And so then it goes, after he's killed, he goes back to the battle. Gil-galad's there too as well, the king of Noldor. And basically he's there to assist. And they are still battling the orcs and stuff like that. And the other orcs are still trying to open a passageway into the kingdom to get after Sauron. And so then it goes back to Antar, and he says, "March with me, children." And basically they start making their way. Dawn's approaching. As Dawn's approaching, Elrond thinks that Durin is coming, the fourth. And as that happens, the elf that he sent off to meet Durin, comes back. He's got arrows in him, and basically tells Elrond that Durin's not coming. And Elrond's like, no, he's coming. He's coming. And he even says that he said he would come to Gil-galad, and basically Gil-galad's like, he's like, get ready, man. Let's go to battle. And basically they start their battle with the the rest of the orcs. Battle starts happening. There's very few elves left. I think maybe a dozen in that scene. And Elrond's kind of back there, kind of like, like he's gonna come. And as they're battling and stuff like that, Anadar is making his way towards Elrond, because if you remember in the scene that they had the conversation as he left it, that I'll see you on the battlefield, and that's if you could take it from me, then you could have the ring. And so we have battle go on. Anadar and Arondir end up fighting. Arondir is able to stab Anatar, but Anatar is able to stab him in turn, and then he gets stabbed again. He seemed to be still alive. I'm not sure if he's dead. Let's hope not. But I was like, no way, they're going to kill off Arondir? I'm like, no. And so after Anatar dispatches Arondir, he makes his way over to Elrond, and they battle out for a brief second. And basically, Anatar has the upper hand the whole time, and basically grabs him by the neck and then pulls off the ring, and then the episode ends. All right. So what are you guys' thoughts on the end of the episode? They also, I forgot, they end up breaching into the city. They're able to open it up and reach into it too. So what are you guys' thoughts on the conclusion of the episode, from when Galadriel gives the rings to Galadriel, and then to the very end of the episode? Starting with you, Raph.
So I think it was great that they brought the hill troll in the end, because you want something big, something amazing, something that will take your mind off of the fact that a lot of this fighting just doesn't make sense. I mean, besides the issues with the physics, and they're just fighting aimlessly. I just like how they brought the hill troll in, and I don't know, I had this thought that the hill troll would just be a great equalizer, help the elves, all that stuff. But no, instead, it made things worse for the elves. I mean, yeah, the elves killed the hill troll, but it was just the orc army, much bigger. And it's they eventually broke in, and, in the back of my mind, I'm just like, okay, you have this hill troll. Okay. I'm surprised you killed him this early. You don't save him for the finale when he does something even bigger. I would have wished they kept the hill troll alive in this episode. I wish that he would keep doing his indiscriminate killing, and I guess create more problems and make it so that we could see him again in the finale. But sadly, we don't. I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, but I would have loved seeing him in the finale. But I trust the writers. I trust they know what they're doing. This finale is exciting, nevertheless, because we saw the orcs break into the city, and who knows what's going to come next. I will say that for the hill troll, I just learned that he was inspired by Breaking Bad's Mike Ehrmantot, whatever you call it. And you might be like, okay, this is a dude in Breaking Bad, and he's the inspiration behind this big fat troll from the forest. And it's mainly because of the demeanor that Mike has in Breaking Bad and in Better Call Saul. And just from that, the writer was like, dude, what if we just made him bigger and just have him just do his thing in this magical place, as Jeff calls it? So it's very interesting. Just everything with the hill troll. And I think without the hill troll, this episode, it'll still be interesting, lots of action, but not as interesting as if now. So this hill troll is like the cherry on top.
Thank you, sir. Jarrett, your thoughts, sir, on the conclusion of the episode?
Very, very good. From start to finish, all the way to the end. A lot of action, a lot of stuff being revealed, a lot of getting to the finale. That's what you want as a viewer. You want action, you want the suspense. We get that. We see the rings leaving, and you're like, well, what does that mean? Is that going to be season 3 now, chasing these 9 rings, or is he just going to get them in the last episode of the show? I'm assuming they're going to meet because of the previews, but The troll's cool. I like the troll. You know, they've had those big creatures before. It was really cool to kind of see him kind of just run over and, you know, step all over orcs and, you know, smash elves and use orcs as shields, you know, to help bring down that bridge. He's just got a really like weird demeanor, like a non-care attitude, and that's cool. I mean, I see it. Just big creatures, you know, just have that real tough feeling of like nothing can really stop me, you know. And then the elves working together to bring him down, grabbing his ankle, stabbing his hand, shooting a bunch of arrows at him. Then you have the fight where he tries to kill what's his name? Morgov, or what is it? The head orc? I don't even remember his name. Anatar was way off. Okay, so you know, they do that whole thing where he stabs him and then he takes an arrow and he stabs him back and then he stabs him one more time. I was waiting for like a second stab from the other guy too. I was like, okay, no, now you stab him twice, but that didn't happen. I guess he didn't have a knife or couldn't grab another arrow. And he falls down. I would have thought he would have been dead or he's dying from that. Because if you're that guy who's an experienced leader, you would have subdued him to not be able to get up. But he just like kind of did his thing and then walked away, right? And then he grabbed the ring. I thought he didn't have the ring. He said he left it, right? He just said that. He said that he goes, why would I bring the ring with me? That wouldn't be wise. But he had it on him. And that was confusing. So I guess like there's some purpose there for him to have it, or was he holding it for her? I really don't know. Yeah, and then the part where, you know, the elves stab each other. He controls the elves because, you know, he had control of their mind. He's like a Jedi, you know, they're weak-minded, so he can get control of them and make them move around, and that's what he did. Trying to think of anything else I might have missed in that area. It was all good sequence. Was interested. I liked it. Good action. Couldn't complain.
All right. Thank you. Jeff, your thoughts on the conclusion, sir?
I felt like the battle of Oregon really went into like full, like, you know, full draw when the king showed up, right? And all that, you know, that was dope. I love Gil-galad, the king. He's great. I love that actor. He's great. Really fond of that character in the show. So like him showing up to like rouse the military, you know, was really great. Having that final stand against the orcs, you know, I don't know what the fuck was up with Arendir getting stabbed twice. That shit was crazy. But he looked like he was alive, so I don't think they would kill him off. And hats off to the actor that plays Sauron too. He was really good in this episode too, as, you know, whatever that queerbo name, Arendir or whatever the fuck whatever that queer shit is that he goes by, that stupid shit. Yeah, that guy. He's good as that slippery gay, you know, kind of like dude or whatever that he became. He's good. You know, in that role. He had some good lines in that final bit there. You know, and hats off to the Rings of Power. This is going to be my first really good rating for the show so far this series. So yeah, let's do it. Episode 8, the finale. I'm ready. I'm ready to move on to some new shit.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. All right. Excellent. Good job, guys. So that is the conclusion of that episode and the 7th episode of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, Season 2. Let's go around and get everyone's rating, and then we'll go from there. Let's start with you, Jeff. What was your rating, sir?
This one's a 10 out of 10. for Rings of Power deserves a 10 out of 10 once in a while, so I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10. Great episode, masterpiece episode for Rings of Power. They built it up and they delivered. So yeah, 10 out of 10.
Wow, folks, you heard that right here. A 10 out of 10 from Jeff. Holy crap. J-Rat, what would you give it, sir?
If we had to give any of the shows on for Rings of Power, let's do it. Let's go 10 out of 10 as well.
Excellent. Wrath?
I would say 10 out of 10 too, especially with the production quality.
I also give it a 10 out of 10. I agree. I thought that this episode was very much like a Lord of the Rings movie. It was very much the quality of the creature looks, the design, the cinematography was all very much like a real Lord of the Rings film. And I thought that was very impressive. I thought that the hill troll looked really amazing. I mean, the digital effects on him was fantastic. It looked like he was there. It looked like a really solid, real creature. And I have to definitely give this a 10 out of 10 just because all the performances in this episode I thought were all very well done too. From Arendir to Anatar to Gilgalad and Gadriel and Elrond, all of them did a really good job of this episode. Their dialogue was really done well. Everything about it was just a really superb episode. And I mentioned this before. I feel that season 2 is by far a better season than the first season. So yeah, 10 out of 10. All right. So that's the end. I will give it over to my co-host to take us out.
Okay. So for plugs, JRAT 2000, you go first, sir. And good job on the show tonight. You did a great job.
Great, thanks. Appreciate that. What's going on, everybody? If you ever want to come and get a few laughs, come to the Podcast Odyssey. You can hear us on Apple. You can hear us on Spotify. I say us because it's not just me. It's usually a group of people that I have. We got Cyber. We've got Jeff that usually come on, and I've got a couple of other characters. That like to say a few things or got a couple of things on their mind, and we talk about things of today and of the past and of the future, and we just have a good conversation. So come out and visit.
Excellent. Thank you, J-Rat. All right, Cyberneticshark, sir.
All right, folks. If you enjoy me on the panel or as a moderator, you can definitely check out my solo content. You can find me under Cyberneticshark. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Patreon, pretty much anywhere that there's a social media platform. You can check me out there. You can see my most recent review I just put up today on the Blumhouse film Afraid. Pretty decent film. If you haven't seen it, check out the review, see what you think. It's actually a pretty fun film. Directed by Chris Weitz, who was one of the co-directors of the American Pie films. He, I think, is a really fun director, and he directed this very well. So if you haven't seen that, and also if you haven't seen my latest trailer reaction on Terrifier 3, definitely check that out too. And keep on watching, keep on trucking. Make sure to check us out here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge as well. Subscribe to all of our channels. Get us all up there. And thank you for watching, and you guys rock.
Okay. Wrath, you got anything to say for plugs, sir?
Oh, yeah. Actually, there's one thing I want to say, and it is I want you guys to all go to every one of these people's podcasts, go rate 5 stars, put reviews, support them all, especially MC's Bleeding Edge.
Thank you, Jassim. I appreciate that. And we appreciate everybody for coming on tonight. Good job, Cyber. Way to rally. Great job, J-Rat. Great job, Wrath. It was good seeing everybody. God bless everyone. Cyber and I will see you on Monday for the Penguin episode 2 and Daryl Dixon episode 1. Well, I don't know if Cyber's going to do up with Daryl Dixon, but he'll be there for the Penguin. So we'll see you for that. God bless you. Take care. Enjoy your Saturday and Sunday. Have a great weekend. Make sure you don't trans out too hard, right? Or whatever. And we'll see you later. Peace.